Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, we're talking about Season 11 and the balance of classes. Now, at all points, every class is not going to be balanced. There's going to be weaker classes, there's going to be stronger classes. But I think currently, right now, there is one class that is just particularly weaker than most of the other classes. And it is for a very obvious reason, at least in my opinion. In Season 10, we got to see the introduction of class passives. And then going into Season 11, the removal of class passives. Now, what did these class passives do? For the assassin class, they got flat pen. Makes sense. You want to dominate the early game, gives them a little extra kill potential. Did it really hurt when you remove the flat pen? Yeah, I actually think it hurt them a lot until they actually get that first item done. Because most assassins are going to lane and ganking with 23 power. That's what assassins will be ganking with, 23 power, which is not much. So it's basically just base damage. And even with the base damage, you're losing that flat pen on it. So it feels like assassins don't really have that same high level gank potential that they did in the last season. For warriors, 10% cooldown. This was the most irrelevant nerf for them ever. I think the items getting changed around a little bit does something, but warriors did not care about the cooldown. They were building a bunch of cooldown anyway, and honestly, it probably buffed them because all the other classes came down a little bit, and warriors kind of came up a little bit because all the other classes came down, if that makes sense. Just because every other class came down, warriors go up a little bit. Guardians lose a little bit of survivability at all points of the game. The CCR is now gone. Do you really feel it though? Meh, not really. Maybe if you go like a full no CCR build, but with a lot of the items that you build, there's some sort of CCR you're getting. Wingblade, Relic Dagger, Oni, Spirit's Robe, Void Domaru, Mystical Mail. There's a lot of just CCR kind of built into a lot of classes, so you're not really missing it for Guardians. For Hunters, Hunters lost 10% auto attack damage late game. So if a late game Hunter, we'll say gets 85 damage, and then they also get on top of that 200 damage built in, or 200 power built in, they'll be having about 285 damage. With the extra 10%, they'd be going up another almost 30, because 285 divided by 10, 28.5. So they'd be going up to about 315-ish area of damage, and just gives them an extra free like 30-ish damage, which is very good for Hunters. But when they consistently put out as much damage as they do, does it matter that much? I mean, yes, kind of, mostly when the assassins are diving and they're critting for 600 instead of 750, but I don't think it really changes too much. But the one class that got absolutely neutered by the removal of the class passive is mages. The overall power reduction to mages last season makes them feel worse than any other class. It feels like you need Reaver to genuinely do damage. If you go book and you finish stacking it and everything, you're getting maybe 100 power, 110 power-ish, 120 power-ish, somewhere like that. You finish Roddick Tahuti, you're getting 110 power. Staff of Mirrodin, 75 power. You're just not giving enough full damage from these builds. So we're going to do Orc Mages because it has the most power that you can actually see in the God build. We'll go Doomorb because it also gives 90. Do Deso, Obshard, Mirrodin, and a Reaver. So this is a stereotypical build other than this is probably going to be book usually, and this will be Sands usually. But this is a pretty stereotypical build. Maybe missing out on like 30 power. This full mage build is getting to about, we'll say 500. We'll give it an extra 50 from the Doomorb and the Sands of Time starter. So you're getting to about 500 power, 6 items deep. Mages aren't scaling enough for this to be like a hugely relevant number. The one is hitting for 900, which is very good against squishies. But when it comes down to it, and you have 200, 250, maybe 300 magical protections from their solo laner, they're mitigating 50, 60% of this. And instead of this hitting for 900 on a 10-second cooldown or 8-second cooldown, this is hitting for 400 on an 8-second cooldown, which is pretty irrelevant when they have 3,400 health. And that's one of your main damage abilities. You just don't have that threat onto those tanky guardians and those tanky warriors. And I think because of that, mages are in a spot where they just don't feel good unless they actually have that Reaver damage or they have that gem damage. And it's why I think Benny actually goes Soul Gem, because it just gives you an extra 20% magical power on your next ability whenever you hit it, which it just gives you a little bit extra scaling. 70 power is not bad. 20% extra magical damage on every third ability is also really good. So I think if you're not going this proc build, you're not going Reaver, you're not going Soul Gem, you're just missing out on a lot of damage. And to kind of combat that, I think mages should get 5, 10 power back on most of their items. I think their starters for one. I think Sands, a Pendulum should go up to 70, maybe 80 power. I think Alternate Timeline, probably fine where it is. This is not supposed to be the damage one. I maybe 5, maybe bring it up to 55. Bring Orc Mages up to 100, maybe 110. Bring Gem of Focus up to 80. Bring Blood Soak to 75. Bring Sack Shroud to 110. I think most of their items should be going up a good chunk, because sitting at 500 versus sitting at 600 when he gets to that late game, that's pretty different. That's pretty relevant. But sitting at 500 when you're 6 items deep and you need a 3K pot and you need a 500 pot and you need an EFG just to be able to get to that 700, 800 mark where you're actually a threat, I think that's a problem. And realistically, I think Tablet is in a pretty weak spot in terms of the damage it does. But truth be told, instead of Tablet, if they get something else, is their damage really going that much higher? Like, Tablet's 65 power and true damage on hit that you have to obviously stack up. But, I mean, you compare this to this Deso, which is 70 power, a little bit of flat pen, some cooldown. You're going to be doing a lot more damage with the true damage from Tablet. And that's true for most of these items. Even Ratatouille, you're getting some pen, you're getting an extra 45 power, or sorry, 45 power. Tablet's still probably going to be out damaging it when it comes to that late game, because it's just something that they really only mitigate through their actual damage mitigation, not just protections. So if you're kind of going Benny's build, I actually think that's really the only time that you feel like you're doing damage, because there's just not enough power in mage builds right now. But yeah, that's the video. Basically, mage is a little weak. Give him a little bit of power. Everything else, again, I've been enjoying this patch a lot. I do just agree that mages are a little underwhelming, so I think they need a little bit of love. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think mages don't feel too great right now? Do you think they do feel fine? Let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys again next time. Peace.